abefuna ipatriarchy inweni feminism inkululeko
Amanda. Can you please call your delegates to come in the conference room? Gender coordinators of all affiliates, may you please call your delegates to come in the conference room? We are here to start. Deputy President, Comrade Shingange, my treasurer, very good morning. Pop crew, are you here? Satu, are you here? Satu, go on a little bit flighting. They will come and join you. Don't worry. Satau, are you here? Communication Workers Union, are you here? Sakau, are you here? Yes, Sakau is here, it's definitely here. Sayepu, are you here? Sounds good. Sasbo, are you here? Ikamala Makosigazi. ANew, my home, are you here? Hey? Now, how are you here? Our President, why when I wish you would Mono President, let me also greet the CEC members that are here in our present. Amanda, I'm still coming, you know, so I didn't forget you. I still have my list. Satu, are you here? Samu, are you here? Dinosa, are you here? Unfortunately, I didn't write alphabetically. That's where the chairperson is coming from. Afadu, are you here? Samatu, are you here? Away too. Let me go. Limpopo, Manamobu. Awa emukwa. Baba ngobakwa. There is something that is going on there. Free State, are you here? I love the spirit to show that I must be fed inside the conference. I get my comrade. Northwest, are you here? Await, not all just say, some Mosha. KZN Nikona, aye, Western Cape, Veskap, Mpumalanga Nikona, no Palawak, Untabise, Scam Mosh. Northern Cape, are we here? This one I have done it intentional. How dare you are the host? Where are you? Let me also welcome the guests. all the guests that are here present, I say Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. I will not do a mistake of forgetting my alliance. ANC, I can see they are also here. Sanko, they are here. Mam Sylvia Lumela. SACP, both of you on a wrong place. Cheers. Are you SACP? It shows our Sophie. When they come in, we'll welcome them individually. Staff COSATU, I also. Anyway, comrade, thank you very much. I hope my program is gone. I'm going to call upon the current chairperson, Umamtande Gamsibi, to officially open this conference.
Sinamule Safa Sape Safa Sape Safa Sape Sinamule Tambo Sinamulele tambo Sinamulele tambo Manta Sinamulele tambo Safa sape, safa sape, safa sape la tambo.
Comrades, bunalamba comrades apetama roving mics. Kindly switch them off. They are disturbing the mic. Keep it to yourself, but switch it off when you are not using it. Viva COSATU, 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 viva! Viva the SSCP, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Malibongwe! Igama lamakhosikazi! To the COSATU NOPs, my table here, the GOPs of COSATU, the alliance leaders, the minister and president for the Department of Women and Youth, our migrant workers, our domestic workers led by the leadership of COSATU, our desk leadership, to the distinguished guests, our veterans present here, welcoming you. I will request Deputy Chair. For the departure of the Vice President of COSATU, Imbogodo Besigingane Zibula, Beauty Zibula. Sambe kakhulu naye maqabane. If ngaqala manje ngithi ngiyakhuluma, zoqeda 5 pages reading her obituary.
Konto wesizwe hamba hamba kahle mkonto konto wemkonto sismisele ukuwa transforma wona lamabhujwa hamba kondo kondo wemkondo kondo wesizwe
Mandla. Right. Today to address the second NGC, National Gender Conference. We have done well. We have done well. I stand before you today as a chairperson of the I've decided to let the other young women to lead us. We want to lead sizo integrator the generation. Bandabami, sisuke kude with this initiative. We can tell the story. Actually, the story is downstairs. Lapha could display the work of women. I always consult. I always ask for their opinion. I always respect them for the work that they've done. Opportunity to lead in COSATU. And a very special appreciation to my Deputy President, Comrade Lena Gianni. I needed you most. I want to thank all the unions of COSATU for your support. Comrades, that is why I will encourage that you continue supporting the structure. Let it not die. Let it be. COSATU staff, I can't express my gratitude. Bonke abantu bangibonile this morning, because all this work that you see was done by our staff. They even dressed me. When I went to Tsakan and Tsakan, I want irregalayam. She was like, Yimala, Nokolo, Butabo, Mpo, I cannot finish the list. Thank you very much. Comrades, we are gathered here at a critical juncture to address a crisis that affects all of us, but devastatingly impacts the lives of the women. Lengulube esibiza gender-based violence and femicide. Our president has tried, comrades. That is why I'm a proud ANC member. We have tried to fight this monster. Troubling reality that over 35% of women in South Africa experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Cases. 10,000, comrades. After declaring, Minister, that gender-based violence and femicide, but you still have 10,000 in 3 months rape cases reported, and almost 1,000 murders of women. These statistics are not just numbers, comrades. They reflect a harsh reality faced by the working class women across our nation. Our president during the SONA repeated that gender-based violence is a national disaster. Hoping that by declaring gender-based violence as a national disaster, sizobona amatela abanye bagijima sibone i-action in few words, Minister. I'm not referring to amatende as such. We don't November, and now 10,000 women are being raped. Reported cases. We've got this document that I always speak about. They know I cannot complete a plan on gender-based violence and femicide, a 2020 to 2030 plan. That should be a plan, Minister. Disaster. We cannot start to do a new disaster management plan because now the GBV has been declared as a disaster. You remember the 6 pillars? Due to insufficient funding. Remember the 6 pillars? We can't have that strategy accumulating dust. It came from 2 summits, comrades, 2 gender-based violence under the Chef's Minister. It can't be. Hence, the COSATU gender structure believes that gender-based violence is not trapped in a cycle of violence at home, in their communities, and even in their workplace. They face harassment and economic dependence challenges that keep facing issues. Let's remember that we are not just advocating for women. We are advocating for justice, comrades, for equality, violence. We are advocating for gender-based violence bargaining, to address place childcare facilities, equal pay, enforcement of the C190 and with its recommendation. Basafa, Minister, Omam, La, Gauteng, Pick and Pay, Stola Ukeshia or Mama, ekwazwa boyfriend yakhe in front of the customers to death. Big Minister now mama egijima lapho. Ayibona. Sino C190. Sine code of conduct. Sine recommendation ekutshela ukuthi what should be done. Iyakutshela ukuthi uperpetrate utreatwa kanje. Uyakutshela ukuthi uvictim fanele ahamba ethuthuzela. Iyakutshela ukuthi fanele kube nama safety homes for the victims. Iyayikhuluma ukuthi akame lapha ka justice ukunikeza umuntu obulela umuntu wesifazane ibail. Sibabona abangaphandle kumanje. Umini that's why ngikhuluma kakhulu namhlanje comrades Nzonxolelo. President Urama. In 2024, one mention lento. Wathi abangayitholi bail ama perpetrators, especially if they killed a woman brutally so. It also reflects the urgent need for political intervention to end wars in Ukraine and Gaza Strip, along with the tensions involved in Iran. This reveals a brutal truth that violence against women is not accidental in conflict. It is structural, comrades. It's only gendered violence against women during wars or during the conflicts. Women in this context, they face sexual violence used as a weapon for war. They face a collapsed healthcare They face the economic exclusion and an increased unpaid care burden. I want to quote words from Comrade Joe Slovo. He said, "We fight not a change of color in the ruling class, but for the fundamental transformation of our society." Mongameli. Comrades, we cannot be comfortable workers of this country, particularly women, in electricity, hikes in fuel, living costs, squeezing their budget, their household budget. Making it increasingly difficult for low-income workers. We know, comrades, that when one woman rises, the generation that was said by Maya Angelou, if you kill one woman, we have killed. Workers of this country are not poor because they earn nothing, but they are poor because the system, through debt and insecurity. I'm repeating the words of Nelson Mandela. Comrades, we need a CPI plus wage increase. CPI is not a wage increase, comrades. City subsidies, especially for working class. Our government cannot just subsidize the corporate. The transport allowance, especially for comrades that are working at retail. I want to congratulate the Sakao on their victory versus Masmat. Comrades, we always say we should protect our trade union rights. And thank you very much for doing so, Sakao. The trends that threatens our comprehensive social security. Your two-pot system. The state says nearly 400 million people withdraw from their pensions before their retirement age. And about 57 billion rands has been spent. And where does it went to the primarily to manage debt rather than to provide a financial security for our workers in food. Despite that, we have taken two-pot system. Most of us, we can't even afford a two-pot system. Therefore, the collective bargaining in South Africa must confront the three interconnected crises: the cost of living, and the collapse of our retirement security. I'm telling you, comrades, I'm not sitting in parliament. What does 5 billion that we have withdrawn? We will be told now what our coffers I say half. Therefore, you cannot take anymore. This is why this NGC is committed raise the working class feminist perspective. Because we understand the struggles of women that are interconnected with issues.
The office bearers of the National Gender, in particular the chairperson who also has addressed us here today, the affiliates, allowance partners, shop stewards, comrades, and invited guests. I always like to remind people that some of us are not as young. And there was a time where we would say, Amandla, webasebenzi, Amandla, webasebenzi, Sikumbeteni, asisebenzela webasebenzi, Siqoma umgwaqo, osisebenzela webasebenzi. An injury to one, an injury to all. Thank you very much, comrade. I'm deeply honored to join the Congress of South African Trade Union on such a historic year for the women of our country. And of course, to address a theme that is particularly close to our program of action. Your theme and the theme of this conference is recognizing care work and transforming society. Before I engage with today's theme, allow me to take this moment to pay tribute, past and present, who have waged a fearless and unrelenting struggle against all forms of discrimination, subordination, and exploitation. Their struggle for gender equality represents one of history's most enduring and transformative social movements, evolving from early demands for basic legal recognition to contemporary demands for fundamental and systematic or systemic transformation across all spheres of life, where decisions are made and power is exercised. It is befitting that we begin by paying homage to the women who came before us, the women of 1956, those on whose broad shoulders we stand. The year 2026 marks a platinum jubilee of the march to the Union building. Our foremothers took to the apartheid regime and faced apartheid regime head on and paved the way for the freedom we all enjoy today. It was not only about women, but it was also about men themselves. In his State of the Nation address in February this year, President Ramaphosa reminded us that, and he says, 70 years ago, thousands of women of all races marched to the Union buildings, their hearts beating with a common purpose. Armed with extraordinary cunning and resolve, these women braved police checkpoints and harassment. We recall the powerful Ngoyi, Helen Joseph, Sophie de Bruyn, and Rahima Musa carrying armful of petitions to lay at the doorstep of a prime minister to meet them. Every petition they handed over carried the weight of justice. Each of the 100,000 signatures they had collected for 30 minutes, the more than 20,000 women stood on the doorsteps of the amphitheater in silence, not singing, not speaking. Their silence reflected the deep emotional pain and frustration born out of systemic apartheid oppression. In their quiet moment, they showed the world that it is not the shouts of image or of anger, but they still something very profound. And said, you know, Comrade Cindy, sometimes you must be still and know. And in stillness came the reminder that wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo. You strike a woman, you strike a rock. There were no taxis, there was nothing. But those women were able, through their activism, to organize South Africa to be in Pretoria. This is the power of a woman. We are able to organize, we are able to mobilize. Patriarchal relations carries a legacy we can all be proud of. A legacy of activism that challenged held on the exclusion of women from political participation, not only here in South Africa, but across the world. They are being threatened. There is a strong pushback. The multilateralism is actually weakened. And I think it is important for us as South Africa to stand firm and us, so that we do not reverse the gains that we have made as women. Today, at international level, you can't say all women. So if you're talking about women today, you're expected only to say women. The moment you say all women, you are wrong. And we that think the same as South Africa. It is for this reason that this year at the CSW, the adoption of the agreed conclusion, which is a summary, a report with a list of amendments, actually raising the same issue that I'm raising. And it was very interesting that the like-minded countries stood together and said, we are going to, you have a position where you say it can't go beyond and below what we have agreed upon. And therefore the agreed conclusion was adopted, but it had to be voted for. Adopting this agreed conclusion as is. And it was interesting to actually the friends of US voting against US. For the agreed conclusion as it is, and that is South Africa. And I'm saying, therefore, there is pushback, and we can't not be up to it. And we can. It may even come to South Africa. And therefore, we've got to stand firm, and that is why I really want to congratulate COSATU for establishing the nation and to stand and to negotiate for women empowerment. So if you look back at the history of our struggle, it is indeed clear that nothing whole, that is what Thomas Sankara, of subjugation. Therefore, as we celebrate the 1956 Platinum Jubilee, we should not only reaffirm our commitment to this message, but also take girls away from politics and other spaces where power is exercised and economic hierarchies are reproduced. This year also, youth uprising, when the youth of this country faced the reality of Bantu education, and they faced it head on. We wish to eliminate all the young women, most of whom remain unknown. These two jubilees are also taking place on the 30th anniversary of our Constitution of 1996, a document that laid a foundation for a future we are yet to attain. In care, transforming society. And I wish to place this statement in its proper historical and political context. The women who gathered in 1995 rightly observed that gender inequality is fundamentally a byproduct of long-standing gendered hierarchies in who gets to extend and exert power over a. And this conference should rightly reaffirm that for development to be meaningful and truly inclusive, it has to be women-led. Moreover, I want to congratulate COSATU for being led by a woman president in the person of Comrade Lo. Have said for establishing this National Gender Committee. It's progressive, it's revolutionary, it's congratulated. I also wish to be plain about what we mean when we say K. We mean child care, elderly care, health care, education, social welfare and development, in social welfare and development, and domestic exhausting labor that sustains human life and makes every other form of economic activity possible. Without care and without care work, there are no children raised, no sick people healed, no elderly people dignified in their final years. Every factory, every mine, every boardroom, every parliament, every cabinet in the world runs because did the care work that made it possible. When the President of the Republic stands before all of us and delivers the State of the Nation address, we listen to him because of his dress code. But behind him, there is that woman, usually, and that tie that makes the president be a representable president and the president we all respect. There is that who polished the shoe. That is the car work. That when investors come to South Africa, because of the Minister of Minerals and Minister of standing before people and inviting investors to come to South Africa, they forget that there's somebody who washed that dress she is wearing. And that is care economy that we are talking about, to say it is performed by women, and it's high time that it is recognized for its contribution. And yet this work remains systematically undervalued. It is underpaid, sometimes not even paid, and as such it is invisible. On our continent, women spend on average 5 times more time on unpaid care work than men, limiting their ability to participate in informal economies. Put numbers to what we already know. The care economy has an estimated true value of 11 trillion US dollars, roughly 9% of global GDP. And here is a figure that every economist and every treasury official in this country should sit with. Of GDP in the care industry could increasingly overall employment and increases the overall employment by up to estimated 6%, creating approximately 22 million jobs. The care economy is not a soft issue. It is the engine of growth. Educators contribute to a better skilled workforce, which industry needs for sustainable growth. It produces value, it sustains economies, and the women who perform it, whether they are nurses in state hospitals, early childhood development practitioners, informal sector teachers, they are social workers, domestic workers in suburban homes, or grandmothers raising grandchildren on a social grant, or daughters dropping out of school to take care of a sick mother or a sick brother. They are workers. They deserve recognition, protection, and fair compensation. And this is happening in other parts of the world. And we think it is time that South Africa recognizes the care work. Economists who have studied this question recommend a 3-pronged part of the trade union vocabulary: recognize, redistribute, reduce. recognize care work must be counted as productive labor in our national accounting systems. If it does not appear in GDP, it does not appear in budgets. If it does not appear in budgets, it will not appear in policies. The women who do this work remain invisible. The second, in redistribute. Care responsibility must be shared more equitably between women and men. In Brazil, they are training men to do housework. It's a project that is paid for by that we share the work at home. Because today, we are all working and we are all contributing to the welfare of the family. But what happens, and the other one goes to the kitchen to cook and to do everything for children. We are saying, let us share this work. Because when we go to work and we are assessed, there is no, it must be the same. And therefore, let us redistribute this. And we are saying reduce. We are saying care burdens must be reduced through public investment in care infrastructure and services. Every infrastructure for care economy, and if it is built in the township, it helps. Every after-school program funded so that somebody must assist children with homework and not you as the at night. Every home-based care worker or daughter placed on a decent contract, every public transport route that gets a domestic worker home safely before dark. These are not investments in the productive capacity of half the population. And they are the infrastructure that must be built to ensure the care work is formalized. Build, reduce, and that is the framework. And COSATU, with its history, its reach, and its moral authority, is uniquely positioned to drive this agenda from the shop floor to the national bargaining chamber. Deputy President, to the national, be there. They will speak for themselves. Program Director, I'm pleased to inform the conference that consistent with our empowerment of working group G20, prioritize just 3 issues. 1, we said economic inclusion for women. 2, we said gender-based violence and femicide. Chairperson, I was tempted to deliver a speech on this. I come from Elukwatin, a comrade and a teacher that we have been with in the organization, a Shoshovu, retired. And all of us believed that all was well in the family. Until a girl who is a stepdaughter was found on the road by my mother is being killed in the house. Because the stepfather, each time the mother was not in the house, would want to rape the stepdaughter. And she will have to run out of the house. Now he wanted to do it in the presence of the mother. And the mother says, how dare you want to rape my presence? And the father, I'm talking about a retired teacher, a comrade, takes out the firearm, shoots the daughter runs out of the house, shoots the mother. And when the police come, he's sitting on the sofa and the woman is bleeding, not dead then. The police takes this woman, rushed her to the hospital, and she dies at the hospital. For the first time we got to know about it. That for years was happening in the house and behind the closed doors. That is the trick and the difficulty about this issue that we are dealing with, gender-based violence. Thinking that they own us. No, they don't. My husband doesn't own me. He doesn't. I am an adult and I can think. It's as simple as that. It will hurt. But he doesn't have to kill me. I have my family that loves and adores me. Please. And I think it's important that we say these things even here. Because our young women in our departments, they are victims of men who come to ties and suits. And they tell them that we are going to appoint you permanently at work on condition you sleep with me. That is a sin, that is a crime. Those are rapists. In offices, closed doors. And these young women are scared to report this because it is the very perpetuator that must deal with the issue. So it's a very dynamic challenge, but we are there. There's a lot of work that we are doing, and I just want really to acknowledge the SG of the ANC Women's League because she's leading this for the Women's League. She's there, and she's there for all of us sometimes. Sometimes when we're not present, she will appreciate with Comrade Nocturne. And I just want to say, over and above that, we then identified our third priority as the K economy. I just want to say, we are busy as a department developing a K economy strategy for South Africa. And we are inviting COSATU, particularly yourselves, to assist and participate with the world, and we have got to be there as South Africa and provide that leadership. A resilient economy is one that can withstand shocks. Financial, during COVID-19, that when the formal economy shuts down, it was the K economy that held this country together. It was the nurse TV boarding a taxi. I think it was from one of the townships in Pretoria, going to work in the morning, waiting on the streets. When all of us and everybody, whether politicians, whether pilots, whether engineers, were sitting at home, those who are providing K economy kept the country moving. It was community health workers. It was early childhood development practitioners. It was grandmothers who were feeding neighbors' children. It was home-based carers that were there. So K economy is an economy, paid or unpaid. How much would the country spend if that young girl who dropped out of school take care of a sick mother if she did not? How much would we be paying? And that is why we cannot suddenly think that K economy is only that which is paid for. There is also unpaid K economy. And we are saying as a department, but also all of us, it's time that we begin to say, is it possible that even the can be considered and probably be appreciated where possible if economic growth, it also be paid for. As I sit down, I just want to thank you very much for the support that we are receiving from yourselves. For these invitations, believe you me, they mean so much. They actually are saying, recognize this department. Chair, we don't have resources. We don't. You meet staff in the department and people who you think this person is supposed to be off sick today because she's not well, but she has to be at work and sign off our strategy and submit our annual performance plan. So as somebody who's supposed to be at home, booked off sick, who when you meet you can tell that this somebody is work because she's chief director without any director. She's chief director without any deputy director. She's a chief director without a PA because the department can't afford. That is the department. But with or without the difficulties, we are here and we are saying we will fight, we will speak, we will raise issues until somebody listens. that this department, like any other department, must be resourced. And I want to say this, in one of the Likhutlas, Comrade SG of the ANC Women's League stood up and said one thing. That is why I respect her. And said, gender-based violence must be funded. That is my input. Gender-based violence, I'm probably just forgotten. And when she sat down, my heart said, it has to be said by Comrade Nokuthula, because she understands the plight of women and what gender-based violence is doing to women. I thank you very much. Amandla!
Can sing. Comrade, thank you, Minister, for the speech, for the message to us. But I have two questions to pose to the delegates. She has spoken about one. Have you registered your care worker at home? Are you paying them enough so they can be able to take care of their kids back at home? Now, unfortunately, I don't have a care worker. I do things myself. So my chairperson, you were saying, hi, I'm the one. I hope you are paying your care worker. And we are. Those are the important things we need to do for our care workers at home. Because in reality, when we are always on the road, they are the ones who are taking care of our kids. Amanda, comrade, the minister, thank you very much. We heard you. The gender-based violence, it's a thorn. So I think maybe in the future, maybe when we wake up, we'll be having even zero number to say we are gender-based violence free in the country. We need to focus. Thank you, comrade. I skipped the introduction of guests because the list was not yet ready. I don't know whether the deputy secretary is ready now, so she can come and do the intro. What's in Timbogoto? What's in Timbogoto? What's in Timbogoto? Tinta, tinta, tintu mama, tinta, tinta.
Okay, comrades, let me quickly do the introduction of guests. We did earlier indicate that we are acknowledging the Central Executive Committee members and also the Provincial Gender Office Bearers of Provinces. In our midst also we have Comrade Nomvula Ngumalo, who's a former NGCC member. We also have Comrade Natalia Mutapo, former NGCC. We also have from Solidarity Center, Comrade Nhlanhla Mabizela. We also have Comrade Lesego Sekano from Solidarity Center. We also have Sikanyiso Maguchwa from Miusa Migrant Workers. We also have Comrade Sineli Somoyo from Miusa, who's also a migrant worker. We also have Comrade Aida Tsitsi Chimeza from ILO. Renale Me NG Petle, former Central Executive Committee member of COSATU. Also in our midst, we have our COSATU National Office Bearers, led by the First Deputy President, the National Treasurer, the General Secretary, and the Deputy General Secretary. From the ANC Women's League, we have the SG, Comrade Nogutula Ngaba. And from Sanko, we have the Deputy Secretary, Comrade Sylvia Mapala, and we also have our COSATU young workers. Thanks, Chair.
Amanda, I'm saying no, Pala must not go. I thought she'll say when she call a person and say, greet the delegates. I heard the noise there to say, where are those people? Aboba and those people.
Okay.
Can she do the right thing to say, Comrade Nogutula Asbulise?
Okay, let me start.
Wait.
Okay, let me start from fresh. Comrade Nomvula Ngumalo, the former NGCC. Wait. Comrade Natalia, former staff in NGCC. From Solidarity Center, Comrade Lesego Sekano and Comrade Ntlantla Mabizela. Okay, from Migrant Workers, Comrade Sikanyiso and Comrade Sineliso. Comrade from ILO, Comrade Aida Tsitsi Chimeza. Hi. Oh, okay. Me-NG Petle. SG ANC Women's League, Comrade Nokutula. From Sanko, Comrade Sylvia Mapala. Okay, I think it will be important as well for us to be greeted by the leadership of the Federation, the First Deputy President. Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Gerald Twala. Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Oh, okay. Sorry, comrades. I have an NEC member, yeah, ANC Women's League, Comrade Punki. Kena gape le Comrade Provincial Secretary. From Fedusa, Dumedisa Maizo. And on my list, we have a very important guest, Comrade Catherine who's the director of FES. Thank you.
Oboy, after you have told them to stand up, I heard my secretary from ANew, she was quiet because the noise was coming there to say, Kiboma, Kiboma. So she wanted to know the people who are going to give them the message of support. Where's my phone? I treasure that. You don't sleep well. And in Mpela dina mali, the way you're sitting down, it shows you don't have money. Amanda, are you telling me if we can go to a march singing like this, our memorandum is going to be accepted? Never. Never. Majority are sitting down. It shows that we are missing a march to go and sing very, very well. Thank you, Mobala. To call the messages of support. All I have the ES, ANC Women's League, SAMCO, and SSCP. You have 45 minutes, 4 of you, to talk to us, to share with that 45 minutes. Hey, I heard you thought 45 for each. No, it's 45 for 4 of them. So if you see the FES is taking another 20 and you have been left with 15 minutes, just say, FES, you are chowing our time. Or must I put a stopper? Can I give you 10 minutes, FES? Can you please come and talk to us? Can you sing for FES, please?
Don't you dismantle patriarchy where you are? Why don't you dismantle patriarchy where you? Why don't you dismantle patriarchy where you? Why don't you dismantle patriarchy where you? Where you are? 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 Where you, why don't you? The patriarchy. Where you, why don't you? Dismantle patriarchy. Where you are. You are where you are. 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 Where you, why don't you dismantle patriarchy? Where you, why don't you dismantle patriarchy? Where you, why don't you dismantle patriarchy? Where you, why don't you? Where you are, 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 where you are.
Wait. Amandla. Panzi patriarchy panzi. Sanibonani. Dumelang. Molweni. Absheni. Bodate wetu abatandekayo. Nobuholi bekusatu. I stand on the protocol and I'm wishing you a very, very successful second National Gender Conference. And I'm hoping for the success of this conference. You have a great responsibility. You have a great responsibility to the women of the working class, be they organized or be they not organized. Many, many women that are workers are not organized because they are not working in formal employment. We've talked about the care workers especially, and there are many, many more. But they are part of the working class, and you represent them, and you have the power to represent them. Don't forget about them. We just completed the COSATU FES Feminist School yesterday, and it was a very encouraging. It also shows us that there's still a long way to go. But that you are at the forefront of fighting for gender justice in the economy and in the place, but also in your own unions and in COSATU. There is a huge number of working class women that the unions are not reaching because the union structures are still very patriarchal, but also because, as I said, many women are not in formal employment. However, if the unions want to and if they really need to transform, they need to become younger, they need to involve and include the informal sector, and they need to become more female. Of the unions. Working class unity, that's what your motto is. So taking into consideration the care workers is a very, very important step. And your president, Comrade Singiswa Losi, is meeting my president, the president of my federation, Comrade Yasmin Fahimi in Germany. Women on top. It is important to have women leaders, and we all agree on that, and which currently our systems run. No, it is necessary for women to transform our organizations, our unions, into truly democratic, equal, and just unions that fight for all of working class. I hope to see this conference to prepare strong resolutions for your need to work towards this very, very urgently needed transformation. Only then will the unions
be able towards socialism. As strong member-led unions, you can achieve that. But it is very important work, and how my organizations in Germany will work as well. I hope that we can work together, and I very much hope that our female leaders will discuss this today as well. It is so waging war, destroying our planet, and absolutely disregarding us, the people. We need women on top. Watinta Bafazi, Amandla.
Spot on time.
Asiyen mafaz. Oh, tina sinemi buzo. Oh, pinala baba mama. Kale balele machele. Oh, tina se aboza. Oh, tina sinemi buzo. Oh, pinala baba mama. Kale balele machele. Oh, tina se abosa. Oh, tina sinemi buzo. Oh, tina se abosa. Oh, tina sinemi. Aigo. Oh, pinala bo mama. Abe vale. Pinala bo mama. Abe vale ma. Yo. Tina se abosa. Oh, tina.
Tina se abosa. Oh, tina simele muzo.
Oh, pinala bo mama. Abe valele machele. Oh, pinala bo mama.
Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina.
Oh, tina se abosa.
Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina.
Tina se abosa.
Kutemina kunjina.
Buzo.
Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina. Kutemina kunjina.
Tina se abosa.
Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina. Kutemina kunjina.
Bayohlala phansi manje. Bayohlala phansi manje. Bayohlala phansi manje. Bayohlala phansi manje. Amandla. You saw me take a time to see Secretary General of Women's Week. I thought maybe my agenda was different to that one. The Roma protocol. The ANC upon the stage Sanko to come and talk to us. I had the SACPs here. Okay. Oh, awusibulise SACP ukuthi mangizokubiza bazi ukuthi khona ngempela. Away, 2. Obana, now you were singing, it shows that we are in a conference. Ne? Can we accompany Mom Sylvia while she's still coming to the stage? With that the same mood that you left with it here.
All power to the people. All power to the people. Re le badudi. Re memilo go tla go bolela le badudi. When we speak of community, we speak of COSATU. There is no community without COSATU, because COSATU is the one that is the first deputy president, Tatana Shingang, I'm sure that na wena, amebona komeko. Ntate Petu, ra o bona ntate, ra o bona Brasox. Laba ba kuibo man Bram Kwanaz. Anhleketa ku va cincile a ni ri sweswi hina hi teka vavanuna so ni ku swivongo swi cincile nakona I'm xaweta na n'wena accent die vrou wat altyd bring die geld vir ons. Ek groet jou vandag. Ek groet jou vandag. Baie dankie. Baie dankie. People ask, why this gender? People ask, why this gender? Why this gender structure? They don't know. Why this gender structure? They don't know. They don't know our duty. Person, you understand? They don't know our duty. Person, you understand gender, you won't be angry. Gender, you won't be angry. Because feminist does not mean that one is against, because feminist does not mean that one is against men, but it only saying that you are trying, you are, if you can look at only saying that you are trying, you are, if you can look at all secretaries that are men, their PAs are us. That are men, their PAs are us. We are the ones that are writing for them. For them, they just come and read. Ones that are writing for them. For them, they just come and read. That's why because I'm a woman. That's why because I'm a woman. Oh, you won't. And you know, man. Oh, you won't. And you know, the religion is really oppressing us. The religion is really oppressing us. The culture. You are just called a wife. You are just called a wife, must multiply. But must multiply. But if we can say today we don't want to multiply, if we can say today we don't want to multiply, nothing will happen. Multiply, nothing will happen. Yeah, they will just come there and nothing will happen. Yeah, they will just come there and nothing will happen. Has been mainstreamed and be fair. Has been mainstreamed and be fair. We must engage, commit. We must engage, commit, and be helpful. And be helpful. Let us not run away from engagements. Let us not run away from engagements. Let us engage. Let us engage. Let us make. Sylvia. I always tell them that no. Sylvia. I always tell them that no, I'm a commissar. I'm a commissar. You don't have to call me Sylvia because I trained. And you don't have to call me Sylvia because I trained. And because I know what I've done. And because I know what I've done. And jumping from one ship to another. And jumping from one ship to another. Who were transforming people. Who were transforming people. Women, let us be visible. Women, let us be visible. Everywhere where we go, everywhere where we go, let us be visible. When they say, let us be visible. When they say, you are a president, you are a president, it's just that they don't report. It's just that they don't report. You know, men barakiding. You know, men barakiding kudulela kateng. Pabe wala babanona kudulela kateng. Pabe wala babanona lava. Ungababone bateta lava. Ungababone bateta. Ba first plan. We know we are voting. Ba first plan. We know we are voting for ANC. And we are still for ANC. And we are still going to vote for them. But what we know is that we are going down there, and we must thought maybe down there, and we must thought maybe you have money. Can someone sit it when I sit down? You have money. Can someone sit it when I sit down? Mnyama angana mali. Mnyama angana mali.
SACP must come along. Once SACP must come along. Once Sylvia goes down with the Asnamal, SACP come and talk to her. Sylvia goes down with the Asnamal, SACP come and talk to her.
To send comrades from the party who are feminist Marxist as equals. This one aspect Marxist as equals. This one aspect that that deprive women to have control over their reproductive and determination and participation in the at home the nation and participation in the at home there is no consensus on the roles, while at workplace patriarchal tendencies on the roles, while at workplace patriarchal tendencies are highly entrenched, where certain positions are highly entrenched, where certain positions are specifically reserved for men. Working class reserved for men. Working class in informal sector, where majority of men and informal sector, where majority of men and women are excluded economically. Majority of our are excluded economically. Majority of our mothers who have raised us, and that is a struggle that we must advance. Raised us, and that is a struggle that we must advance. We are worried about the working conditions in. We are worried about the working conditions in working. We are worried about the working conditions in working place, more especially in the retail sector, where women continue to be placed, more especially in the retail sector, where women continue to be, especially in the retail sector, where women continue to be employed based on equity, not equality. Employed based on equity, not equality. Employed based on equity, not equality. And we must teach our Marxist feminists that, you don't want to work on a basis of equality. You don't want to work on a basis of equality. Raise grassroots issues. I know your expectation is to raise strategic issues, high-level issues, because this is a national seminar. But people that you are representing,
Let me cut to the chase and stand on the existing protocol. Fellow comrades, it is an honor for the Jewish state of Israel. We gather here today when women and children in the Western Sahara are still under the unconstitutional occupation by a Bermuted, whilst the ongoing intensification of combat pursued by both the Zionist Israel regime and the USA against Iran by the Trump administration leveled against South Africa as a stage managed theatrical to discredit and subvert our alliance for maximum unity of purpose. Our revolution has always located the struggle for peace within the border struggle for justice. Our determination and a clear political consciousness to identify the enemy and forge unity based on principles for us. In 1956, the march became a very pivotal moment, comrades. March became a very pivotal moment, comrades, in the history of our struggle, and it highlighted the intersection of women's rights and national liberation. Comrades of I therefore, on behalf of the National Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League, Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League, support the call of the woman to our husbands, to our uncle, so as to defeat, to our husbands, to our uncle, so as to defeat the gender-based violence and femicide on our own in our lifetime. Thank you, and femicide on our own in our lifetime. Thank you very much. Amandla.
Tinta matota. Batyastunge Kulemanani Amachina Zala Amachina Zala Amachina Zala Batyastunge Usitolem Lenane Lama China Azala Batyastunge Stolma Lenani Lama China Azala Lama China Azala Mate Lama China Azala Stunge Situlem Lenani Lama China Yazala Stunge Situlma Lenani Lama China Yazala Lama China Yazala Lama China Yazala Amandla. Thank you very much, Comrade Program Director or Deputy Chair. I thought that it's an important song. I have a lot of songs to sing for this occasion, but I think this should be a national anthem for the struggling working class, in particular the feminine sectors. The sectors that are led mostly by women, whose job mostly is to do what the minister earlier on the morning said they do, the care work. It sounds nice, but it's deep. Ishaya ngaphakathi in terms of the message, and particularly, comrades, the struggle that we are now embarking on to defend local manufacturing sector in our country. Our factories are closing, Comrade NT, because we import fabric from, okay, they bring the workforce here. They don't come here and employ workers from South Africa. We know that. And as to why our laws, particularly the labor laws, still continue to allow that, and we don't know. When those guys, they count the number of employed and unemployed people in China, and they say we've reduced the unemployment, they count people who work across the world in Chinese-run businesses. Each one of those is counted as if he's employed in China. And that's one of the reasons why when they come here, they don't employ anyone from South Africa. They don't use raw material from South Africa, even as they batunga ngento zabo. It is a serious. Okay.
Can I have those roaming mic to me and be switched off because if somebody wants to talk, I'll try to take them to you. The other one.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Chair. So I was greeting the program director, the chairperson, comrade, and your collective here on the table. Greeting the national office bearers of COSATU, the national treasurer, the GS and the DGS, equally the central committee president of POPCRO, the first deputy president of NIHAO, the deputy president of DINOSA. I saw them. I might have missed others, but the central the alliance partners, Comrade Sylvia from SANCO, the ANC Women's League SG, and your delegation, including the provincial secretary. It's not because they are bad twinling. I might arrive, but I've not yet arrived there, so I'm still okay. I don't know about Comrade Gerald. But comrades, let me also greet indeed conference delegates. And in keeping with what was asked by POPCRO, we will not go through all our prepared input to this conference because it's important that it does its work, particularly the Commission's work, because in so doing it advances our program as a federation. But I want to greet all of you in the name of the National Office Bearers, the Central Executive Committee of COSATU, and indeed the 16th affiliate of the Federation. So, whom at her behest I have an honor to address this conference. As you will know, she's advancing the struggle of the workers on another corner of our world. We are coming here to the second conference, having been here 4 years ago, to indeed see through the child that was born out of struggles of men and women. And in this context, I want to acknowledge the veterans that are here, from affiliates, but also veterans who started the gender struggle in COSATU, the conference. I saw Ma'am Angie earlier on here, and all your comrades, we acknowledge you. This is your child, this is your brainchild, and this is your effort. It is important for us to start by acknowledging the month of March as it is, firstly as an International Women's Month every year, and we did take our part here as COSATU. But also recognizing it as a South African Human Rights Day or a Human Rights Month. But it is important in the context of us as the militant and red organization COSATU, in order to allow the correct history of this day to go unpreached. It was not out of somebody's goodwill that South Africa finds itself to celebrating 22nd of March as a Human Rights Day. It was out of the patriots who were fighting for the human rights in this country that had to lay down the ultimate price or sacrifice, which is their life, on what is called Sharpeville Massacre Day 1960. Hundreds of workers, of people died that day. Of course, it's recorded that 69 of them, but we know that it's more than 69. In the months to follow and in the years to follow, they perished, fighting as human beings who were not regarded as human beings in South Africa. The reason they were on the street, the reason they saw it fit that they might even die if needs be, it's because it was the majority of the indigenous people of this country that time, they were not regarded, that's why they were not deserving human rights. That's why they had to carry pass books, and if you want to live here, and you go to the next province, you needed what was called a special. How dare you come from the East Rand and you find yourself in the West Rand? Ungana special. You're going to be arrested. Those were not laws befitting of a human rights respect, and that is why people had to, as explained, bear their lives. Say, yes, it's Human Rights Day, but, comrades, it's Sharpeville massacre. We cannot, as this current generation of activists, allow a situation where those who come after us will not even know why we have got a Human Rights Day. They will not remember why is this. They will think that, okay, government, they must remember the real struggles and the sacrifices. So when we gather in March, when we celebrate as we did, is to honor their ultimate sacrifice. Is to remember their contribution. It is also to acknowledge that the little rights that we have today, that also they are on the verge of being reversed, some of them if we don't defend, are the fruits of their blood. The human rights chapter in our Constitution, it is written with the blood of those comrades that died in Sharpeville. We dare not forget that. And indeed, the rights we enjoy today that are on the verge or on the threat, as Comrade Chikunga raised, we do not fail as this generation of workers, of leaders, and of revolutionaries to defend those rights, because if we do fail, they will turn on their grave and will have failed the generations to come and will have failed to honor their lives and their sacrifices. And of course, we want to join the SG of the ANC in acknowledging the comrades, the South Africans, who came from all walks of life on the 22nd to fight to defend the national sovereignty. Those comrades in 1960, they died. One of the rights they were fighting for was that South Africa must be allowed a right to self-determination. South Africa must be allowed to national sovereignty, not dictated to by any other forces outside the country on what must happen. And that sovereignty, comrade, is under threat as we speak, be it from the imperialist forces outside the world, be it the internal people who miss apartheid, because there are people who miss apartheid, comrade, that we live with on a daily basis. They miss it, they feel, they hope, they wish it was 1948 today. They wish they could just see a black person and see a black girl, a tea girl and a garden boy. They miss it. And therefore they are threatening the rights that we have. They are threatening the national sovereignty that we have. In honor of them, we applaud those South Africans across the political parties that came and said we may be coming from different political formations, but we have one flag that we swear upon. We have but one country to defend, and no one else, not even soldiers, are going to be enough to defend our country if the majority of South Africans stand and defend our country. So as we gather here, as the gender activists of our movement, we dare honor them and acknowledge that day. Their struggle reminds us that the National Democratic Revolution was also to deal with the gender inequality in our country, was to ensure that we are equal, no women, no men. This month reminds us, and this gathering reminds us, Chair, that South African working class people had faced a number of oppression, but a South African woman was facing what we call triple oppression. An oppression because he's a worker, oppressed because he's a woman, oppressed because he's an African woman. As South Africa is recorded in the world as being the most unequal society in the world, something which as loyanga umuntu is our own making, comrade SG. Akekho umuntu asiloyila sibe sibe unequal. Uverwoerd magaye a design apartheid has designed it in such a way that there must be inequality in South Africa. It was legislated that a woman and a man must not be equal, the black and the white must not be equal. And then thina masifika sibhale nje singayichange. That will continue to be the most unequal society in the world. It's no longer the fault of Verwoerd, it's not the fault of Umthakathi, it's our fault as the current drivers of the transformation of society in our country. But that inequality, comrades, still bears a face of a black woman. The poverty in this country is represented by a face of a black woman. The pay inequality in the workplace, the positions difference in the workplace still bears the face of a black woman. So to this day, a black worker still continue to express a triple oppression as it was in 1956, as it was in 1960, and as it was even as we entered Parliament. Granted, comrades, our Constitution enshrines gender equality. Our Parliament has got the most representative of women, but political representation. It doesn't transform the structural inequalities. That means economic equalities and so forth. So political power and political representation alone does not tinker with the structural architecture of inequality in this country. And that is what this conference must grapple with, what struggles we must endeavor to do moving forward. Which we can't avoid amidst the raging world war, amidst the heightened imperialist aggression by the empire led by the mad dog called Donald Trump in the United States of America, who smells and feels blood, who doesn't think that it is possible to trade with countries without intimidating them, who doesn't think that it's possible for you to buy oil from Venezuela without capturing the president, that it's possible to side with Iran with oil without killing innocent people in that country. And that war is going to affect the economies of the world, it's going to affect the cost of living of the world, but also it's going to affect women and children. Because women and children bear the brunt of wars when the dispossession takes place. When we must move houses, it is women and children who suffer a lot. And I'm not saying, comrades, and I'm coming to this point, this unpopular point, Chair, that we're in the gender conference, not in the women's conference. Okay, now, the women, comrades, in Palestine, in Gaza, the kids in Palestine, in Gaza, they pay the price of the wars that is taking place by Israel apartheid. Healthcare workers and care workers in general, as outlined, are unable to assist the wounded. They are unable to assist those who need food because hospitals have been bombed, churches have been bombed, transportation has been bombed. Now, as we gather in South Africa, probably thinking that we are safe, we must bear a thought for those struggling. And that is where part of our work and our resolution is to heighten the international solidarity work that we are known revolutionaries. We are known of lending a helping hand to the struggling people of the world. We are known of coordinating. We are known of being beneficiaries of the international communities that lended a helping hand when the need arose in South Africa. Those who gave us a helping hand, it is because they had to must think of the people of Cuba, whose economy has been blockaded, Cuba which has been flattened now. Cuba is unable food in the shops because America has decided to blockade and threaten everybody. They are almost on the verge of capturing Cuba. We must think of people of Venezuela. We must think of people of Palestine. Can give over and above us issuing statements, writing letters, maybe going to the United States consulate to march, but those people need medication in Cuba. They need, the powder milk for kids. They need things for kids. What can we do to lend practical solidarity? We all know about the support that Cubans did to our revolution in the African continent. When they did that at that time, they were still contending with America in the Bay of Pigs and many other wars that they were fending off. They were fending off the economic blockade, but they still spared time to support all of us in the world. So the point I'm making is that it is not when you are in the that you are able to then I can lend someone a helping hand. It is not because your resources are unlimited that you are able to assist the other one that needs the resources. Because, comrades, it was Libya yesterday, it was the other day, it is Gaza, it's Palestine today, it was Venezuela, it is Cuba today, it is Iran. Who knows it is the time of South Africa? Who says this thing is not going to come? When we are surrounded by the American army bases around SADC here, from which they can launch an attack within 1 minute. Okay. Iran has decided not to go to America directly because America is a coward. They didn't go to Iran directly. They had to Israel Iran. Now what I'm going to do, get a bomber everywhere when there is a face of America around the regions. Dubai, no, and she Dubai, Manama, and Manama Iran. If there is an American army base here in this Swaziland, Lemo Botswana mo, Iran decide we bomb. Mizala wana ito fita more namo. Ya fele like oxygen ya awamo. Get bomb. Oba ito Botswana itlemo balike uri ba ituncha. Kere ba ituncha isali moye ditulana ditla fita mo santene mo ya wela mo. So we're not safe, comrade. The world is not safe. It's a dangerous world. We have to take that thing into consideration. We are in a war that we're not participating, but unfortunately, we are affected. And again, comrades, I want to join the SG to deal, because this gender conference of COSATU is a gender conference of the revolutionaries of COSATU and the women of COSATU that understand the workplace struggle and the community struggle, and that the gender inequality is a societal matter. It's not only a workplace matter, it's not a personal matter, it's a societal matter. It's a revolutionary matter. Gender inequality. Now the revolutionaries, whenever they gather, they are not sectoral. They look into issues that affect society, that affect the world, that affect the globally. Include, we are urging this conference to rise and condemn those who decampaign South Africa in the international, or those who cause South Africa to be sanctioned, those who cause South Africa to have an economic implications of the bad of our country, that we kill whites. We have a white genocide in our country by those who misses apartheid. We cannot leave this battle to defend our country's name to the government, to the Minister of International Relations. The tariff war that as a result of that decampaigning has been slapped to South Africa, we cannot leave to the Department of Trade and Industry alone. The government are doing their best, but all of us who are affected by the negative we must rise and defend our national sovereignty. Comrades, because it is us, when the factories are going to close because of the 30% tariff, it is these workers that are going to suffer in our work. It's the rising cost of living that is going to be affected. And we think we must just only be defended by government. We can't. But we must also call, comrades. When we were fighting, campaign for South Africa to be isolated, to be sanctioned, we were talking bad about the South African government of the time. But the price was jail. It was a hangpan. That is why we had to do it underground. That's why we had to do it when we were in exile. If we are caught, you will go to jail for speaking bad about the South African government at the time. Why is it that in that democracy people just speak as they want and there are no consequences to them, but there's a consequences to the country? But we don't. So in our last week, just ending yesterday, we were in Nedlec. We did tell the president, we did tell the minister that can't we start make it a treason, because it was a treason before 1994 to speak bad about South Africa. Why is it not treasonous now? Why is it not treasonous? That we suffer these consequences of economic sanctions, but the people are freely walking. They're carrying their apartheid flag, they go to for food statue, they march, they say defend our fatherland, and then tomorrow they walk with us. And the next point we want to ask, again it's very controversial. When Russia embarked on the military operations in Ukraine, within 24 hours, all of us were mobilized to boycott, isolate Russia. Those of you who have got DSTV, you know that the multi-choice put down channel 407, the Russian television. You can no longer watch it now. Immediately, multi-choice, yako, lewe patela, yavala, yatla usayibona. The Russian athletes, there was an Olympic that were taking place. They were boycotted. They were told not to come unless they are not carrying the flag of Russia. They must just come on their own. Today, some of you are busy booking accommodation and flights to go to the United States of America to watch soccer, football. No one is campaigning that the World Cup must be taken away from the United States of America, or else we are not going. The World Cup, soccer in particular, President Mkhugu, it's a sport that must unite nations. It unites nations. That's why nations of the world come together to enjoy and be united. It is being hosted by the most divided nation, divisive nation that is killing people, innocent people in the world. And we're all flocking there. We're all going to flock there with no shame. And we're saying nothing. If we can't boycott, if we can't postpone, why don't we at least campaign that it must be taken somewhere else? In another country. No, we're quite happy to go there, but we're happy to accept the sanction of Russia. What hypocrisy are we? Comrades. So we're just saying we are not just women of COSATU. We are not just gender structure of COSATU. We are revolutionaries. We broaden our thinking, we broaden our analysis. We are in a struggle. a class struggle that includes a struggle for gender equality, but it's also a struggle for a peaceful world. It's a struggle for the respect of the international law. It's a struggle for the countries of the world to be allowed for their self-determination, live in peace. It can't be fought only by those who are affected. It must be fought by all of us. Che Guevara will make this point, that if you tremble in the face of any injustice, then you are a comrade of mine. Principle is tested when it does not affect you. When you defend a principle which you believe that it is correct, you defend it mostly at a time when you are not directly affected. Now, when people are dying elsewhere, when people are being sabotaged economically, when people are being abducted, that we are not directly affected. Because we are comrades, we must rise and stand on the side of principle and defend those who are affected by the injustice, because an injustice anywhere, it is an injustice everywhere. Comrade. Now, one of the things that the conference must try and help this struggle for gender equality is to take it to the bargaining council. And I'm now paraphrasing the 8th Central Committee of COSATU's resolutions, because that's the only thing I'm going to speak about now, having left every other thing. That because we are aware that even in the presence of Convention 190, the workplace is still, particularly the private sector, very much unequal. But also the gender-based violence is still taking place in our workplaces, in different forms, in many forms. But even if you have got policies in the workplace, comrades, that promotes gender equality, the problem is that naturally, or maybe let me say biologically, we don't bear the same responsibility about this equality. So if you have got a 3-year-old baby that you're supposed to be breastfeeding, I may give every support as much as I can. But at the time when the baby must be breastfed, I can only watch or help to hold. There's nothing beyond that I can do. But at the same time, you're supposed to be in front of a patient if you're a nurse, in front of kids if you're a teacher, if you are cleaning somebody's house or in somebody's factory, or in home affairs or everywhere else. But in that workplace, there is no child care facilities. I know we have campaigned for this, but can we take this fight even more stronger? That in our workplaces we must have child care facilities. We bring our kids to the workplace, someone who's taking care of them, they play. During break, I go and breastfeed my child. It makes me to be focused in the workplace. It makes me to be relaxed. It makes me to be productive in the workplace. But if I must every minute worry about my 3-month-old or my 2-month-old baby who's 120 kilometers away from me, that I can only see him or her at 10 o'clock in the evening and leave her in the morning at 4, I can't be productive in the workplace. I cannot. The workplace and the fact that we must work is not designed to break families. It is not designed to create a gap between children and their parents because of work. So our struggle, comrades, now a problem proposing a resolution, it is there, but we must take it even forward aggressively. Over and above demanding in our bargaining processes the equal pay for equal work, there must always be the demands in our bargaining processes that advances gender equality. There must never be a bargaining cycle that we don't put forward, a demand that seeks to equalize and democratize the workplace. And this is one of them. But policy-wise, economically, and societal-wise, and political comrades, we will not win gender equality even for emancipation of women, including eliminating of gender-based violence, if we don't pay attention as a society on how we raise a boy child. Comrades, there's no factory, there is no village, there's no camp or a zoo where you find only men and we find women somewhere else. So these men that are perpetrators of gender-based violence, some of them, consciously or unconsciously, they are also victims of the sickness they have. But more importantly, they are raised within the same society we are raised in. Now, practical step, deliberate programs at school, in primary, in societies, in stockfields, in our household. There must be a deliberate, everyday effort by all of us, collectively, men and women, to raise a responsible boy child. Otherwise, comrades, this will continue in perpetuity. We will arrest them, put them in jail, but they will not transform. When on the 9th of August, we go to the stadium and sit there alone as women, hoping that and we speak about all our problems as women, sibashile ekhaya baphuza sicabanga ukuthi masibuya sobathola sebachintshile mase sibuye stadium masifike ekhaya uzothola ubaba sekachintshile is a new person because wena ubuye stadium conferencing. No, comrades, they're not going to change because when you are coming from a meeting to talk about yourself alone. There must be deliberate effort to change them. They're not going to change by hearing us complaining. Perhaps it might even be too late to change some of us, but it's still time to change, to raise a responsible, very respectful, a boy child moving forward. And therefore, our programs, our resolutions, our struggles and our campaign must pay attention on what is it that has been told to a boy child, who is telling the boy child that it's okay to be abusive, it's okay to kill. Arrest and deal with the socio-economic challenges that all of us face, but that men face too. It is now we all now know that it is wrong for a man not to cry. Because mawumhlaba uyezwa ubuhlungu, mawumthuka uyezwa ubuhlungu, mawumshaya uyezwa ubuhlungu, and uNkulunkulu umnikile izinyembezi. Therefore, why do you bottle these tears that God gave you as a form of relieving yourself when you are under pressure? We all know now that's the fact. Much as society is meant to be strong, it is not good to be strong when you are not strong. It's okay to be weak. It's okay to be vulnerable. So, the pressures, the expectation of society on men ought to be addressed if we were to eliminate the boiling and the bottling anger, that it only happens once. The painful story that it bunch of us of knowing one another, especially in the workplace. The painful stories we read about it. If disappeared 3 days ago or a week ago, efile e-office. Sasikhuphe as colleagues. Masingamboni besithini masingamboni. Uthi uphi usibanibani. Size sizwe makuphula umnyango office, that person either committed suicide or was killed in the office. That person was akekho emsebenzini, but thina singena emsebenzini we mind our own business up until it's too late. Suicide or kill other people. We work with them while they're very troubled. And we don't have an early detecting or warning signs on time so that we can intervene. Okay. I think ikhona COSATU, but kule inyoni ngibuya kuyona we ke sa advocate ukuthi we must campaign for a gender-based forums in every workplace. These forums are supposed to work as an early detection. Forums that are going to handle the victim, counsel the victim, or the victim can go and report. We should campaign for police stations to be women-friendly or victim-friendly or victim-centered, male or female. When you walk into the police station to report an abuse, ningasleke president nithi wena Mike wabethwa wena ningasleke ngoba maseningihleka you are forcing me to find solution on my own. I must go back and the solution is crime and jail. So forums and institutions that are established to help victims mazingabi namehlo ukuthi lona umfazi kusho ukuthi oright lona indoda kusho ukuthi wrong. But also when you are a female, you go to this, whether it's a court, you must not be forced to go through the same trauma again. So in other words, part of the thing we must do is to reach people, very professional, who are going to handle this matter. It's a complex matter, comrades. It's not a small matter, it's a complex matter. So we must work and campaign on sides. In our workplaces, when we do the pledges against GBV, we must do it for both men and women. There's a pledge of male of COSATU, there must be a pledge of women of COSATU denouncing the gender-based violence. They must pledge how they are going to conduct themselves throughout in the workplace, in their households, where they live, where they work, where they walk. They must not witness a gender-based violence and they look away. They must not be perpetrators of the gender-based violence. We must hold them accountable for the pledges they are going to make. In COSATU, we started something called the Male Gender Champions. Angazi phelelepi. Mina ngangu-chairperson wakhona mayiqala. That is why in provinces and in affiliates, we had a chairperson or a secretary of a gender being a male. We had programs called Positive Masculinity, teaching a man that being masculine is fine, but it must be positive. It must contribute positively, not negative. So that struggle, my comrade, we must not leave it. It's one of those things I'm saying we can use to raise a positive and a progressive boy child. That's what we can use to change the mindset of our male compatriot of our society. Not to close ourselves somewhere alone. we must know that women, women on top is not a threat. It's a positive development to advance society of South Africa as it is, in particular to address the imbalances of the past. So we do think that, comrades, this conference must deal with some of those areas. But as I was saying, as I conclude, that the 8th Central Committee highlighted the need to improve gender representation within COSATU structures. We're calling for a deliberate program to develop and deploy women and leadership positions. And then recognized that representation must translate into real power and influence. I said earlier on that our parliament, you cannot falter them in terms of women representation. But what does that translate into? What does that translate into? Does it translate into real power and influence, or it is just representation? So political representation, comrade, is not enough to change society, to change the structure and the economy and the respect and so on and so on. Our NDR, comrades, was indeed to ensure that there's gender equality. So when we see gender inequality, when we see gender-based violence, when we see poverty bearing the face of a black woman or a black worker, you must know that the NDR is either it has failed or it is still a long way from achieving its objective. Because the National Democratic Revolution was to deal with the three interrelated contradictions, which is racial discrimination, which is racial inequalities, but also the class inequalities or the class contradiction and the gender contradiction. If any of the three is not resolved, that is a state of our National Democratic Revolution. So every time we assess the state of the National Democratic Revolution, is it on course, is it on crossroad, we must answer these three. Have we achieved to resolve the racial inequality in this country? In the workplace, in the economic space, is our economy still not racially based? Is the economy, participation, and the ownership of means of production still not in the hands of white? And is it still not in the hand, more importantly, of white men? It's white men. Have we solved the issue of gender inequality? Are our women feeling free when they leave home, go to work or to the shop or go to... So those three contradictions, are we not still yet divided in class terms in this country? When we assess the National Democratic Revolution where it is, the gender-based violence and child abuse remain among the most severe violations of human rights global. It is said by the UN that 1 in 3 women experiences violence, while in South Africa, the levels of femicide and rape remains alarmingly high. So, comrades, while it is important to affirm women, emancipate them, develop them, why it is important to have women on top, I don't know what that means, it is important, I'm joking, it is important to say men alone are not going to transform themselves, women alone in their own corner are not going to transform themselves. Meetings like this must be accommodative. It is in meetings like this that we make people to recommit to the struggle to eliminate the gender-based violence in the workplace, in the household sectors, even on the street. It is important for us to take that, and we want to say that, comrades, The election of leadership is therefore critical, but leadership determines the direction of the Federation and its ability to advance a non-sexist working class program. We must elect leaders who are political. That's what, Brasox, you will want this conference to advance. I must be able to have confidence and come to you as a leader of this after this conference. I understand this is a revolution, and I'm best and well represented by yourself because you understand our struggle. Because we are not sectors. Therefore, on behalf of the 16 comrades there, affiliates of COSATU, it is important that this conference succeeds, it's progressive, because we are all going to benefit, including those affiliates who still do not have gender structures. You are failing to implement the COSATU resolutions. Comrades Chair, other affiliates have got women structures, others have got gender structures. No, I didn't say anyone is confused. I'm saying when unions, and I'm not saying ANew, when unions take a decision whether we must have a women's structure or a gender structure, when it comes to this level of the Federation, it has a potential of causing confusion. What is it? Is it a women's structure or a gender structure? So it is a gender structure, comrade. But we're saying, just like the young worker structure, this structure must succeed. And we agree, comrades, I think it's Saktos that spoke about the unions that are in good, not in good standing. We are doing our best. Maybe it's a discussion for another day. Amandla! Duma, duma. Duma, duma. Duma, magosi. Duma. Hayonge Nepalam. Duma, duma. Duma, duma. Duma, magosi. Duma. 60%, 60%, to Mama Kosi, to Mama Kosi, to Mama Kosi, ayongene CEC. On top is the top one on top of the fridge. Yes, we want to see ourselves there. Comrades, there was a proposal to say the IEC come and address us to present the nomination. COSATU.
National Gender Office Bearers. The nominations for the National Gender Office Bearers were therefore officially opened on the 20th of March and officially closed on the 25th of March at 1700 hours. Only affiliates in good standing were eligible to nominate for the National Office Bearers. Out of 16 affiliates, 5 are not in good standing. This and will be eligible to vote for the National Office Bearers. So out of 9 affiliates submitted the nomination forms, and we didn't receive any nomination forms from 2 affiliates that are in good standing. For the chairperson, for the deputy chairperson, for the secretary, and the deputy secretary. The following nominations were received. from 9 unions in good standing, from COSATU Clothing, from Pope, from Dinosa, Sakau, Samu, Samatu, Saspo, Sayebu, and Nehau. All 9 unions in good standing. Gender chairperson. Thank you. President, you are intimidating me. The names of the affiliates nominated: COSATU Clothing, Pope Crew, Dinosa, Sakau, Samu, Samatu, Saspo, Sayepu, and Nehau. They all nominated the name of Comrade Khomotso Makupela from Nehau, the National Gender Chairperson. The name of Comrade Khomotso is the only name received for the position of the chairperson. I will then Khomotso to please confirm if he's still available to serve as a COSATU National Gender Person before we go to another position. Comrade Khomotso, wherever you are, please may you confirm. I confirm. Thank you. Second position is the position of the Deputy Chairperson. The following nominations were received from 8 unions: COSATU Clothing, Pope Crew, Samatu, Saspo, Sayepu, and Nehau. All 8 unions in good standing nominated the name of Comrade Lydia Makudulela from Saspo as the COSATU National Gender Deputy Chairperson. The name of Comrade Lydia Makudulela is the only received for this position. May I then ask Comrade Lydia Makudulela to please confirm if he's still available to serve as a COSATU Gender Deputy Chair. The third position is the position of the Secretary, and the following nominations were received from 9 unions: Samatu, Saspo, Sayepu, and Nehau. All unions in good standing nominated the name of Comrade Emilia. Comrade Emilia is the only name received for the position of the Secretary. May I then ask Comrade Emilia to confirm if he's still available to.
I'm available.
Thank you. The last position is the position of the Deputy from 9 unions: COSATU Clothing, Pope Crew, Dinosa, Sakau, Samu, Samatu, Saspo, Sayepu, and Nehau. Now, Gender Deputy Secretary. The name of Comrade Nkateko is the only name received for the position of the Deputy Secretary. May I then request the doctor to confirm the availability to serve. Comrade President, this will be the end of my work. Tomorrow, the National Office Bearers will dissolve the current gender office bearers and announce the new leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Kai. Knows what I'm here to do. Comrades, there is a report of the nominations. It has to be accepted by conference and then confirmed the closure of the nominations or otherwise. Pope Crow followed by Nihau. Ngibona Sakau, Sasbong Yanbona.
Very much, President. President, we welcome the report as presented by. They are part of that. They might have not. I'm saying, I know they are part. No, President. Sad. Sad to get some VP. No, thanks, President. Yes, President. So we want to. And lastly, President, we want to move now for the closure of this process. We are closing the Women's League. They have learned from us.
Thank you so much, President. Also, as Nehau President, we want to welcome the report as presented. Thank you.
The boards that are remaining, is there a different view?
No, President. We are in the same page.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Order.
President, COSATU would like to make this submission. The process is formally adopted. President, organizations have cultures. Would like to, when the process unfolded, it posed challenges from some of the affiliates that we want to put on record. We are motivated, President, in terms of telling no lies and masking difficulties. This is what happened, Comrade President. Affiliates were convened constitutional meetings.
Wait, Sato. Sakau, is a point of order. There are other mice, comrades. Can we send them that side? Can we borrow the comrade the mic, please? Nihau, because the one that Sato's giving, they are on the podium, so.
Thank you, President. As SACAO, we want to know where are we in terms of meeting procedure.
Okay.
The matter was moved. You've asked for a different view. There was no different view. But the comrades seem to coming in now after you've ruled with a different view. And that's why we rise to say it's out of order in terms of procedure. You need to go to the next point. Thanks, President.
Thank you very much. In terms of the missing procedure, Comrade Sakau, we are still on the report of the IEC. Yes, it has been moved, and yes, it has been seconded. It is important to listen to what they want to say, whether they have a contrary view. On that, Chair, let's just be patient. If we debate it, it will take a lot of time. But if you were just to allow me for 2 minutes, we will close this matter very soon. I'm pleading with the Congress. It's a gender struggle, man. Proceed, Sato.
Thank you, Comrade President. The intention is not to belabor the conference.
Yes, please.
To qualify how the process would have unfolded. As an affiliate, we were not invited in the that deliberated upon this process. Whether it was deliberately or by omission, we are not so sure of by now. However, to summarize a lengthy story short, that we need to qualify that as and when the processes unfold, as a union, we're outside of those processes.
Okay.
Yes, we just want to put that.
But otherwise, you have no contrary view.
No, we do not have a contrary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No. I don't know whether you want to respond, comrades. Please. I would have had problem if they were saying. But yeah, because comrade Deputy President of POC is in the CC, I have to listen to it, otherwise I will be in trouble.
President, if we are not going to correct these things, and we will have the delegates leaving the conference with that in relation to the process. So we just want to clarify, the process that COSATU is referring to is the informal process where engagement, a caucus, which is not in the... Just want to clarify that. So but the process which is in the constitution of COSATU, that has been outlined by our IEC, received when the nomination forms were sent and the nominations were open. Actually, all of us received the nominations forms at the same time to nominate and submit. So I'm saying, let's just clarify so that it does not bring confusion. They are referring to informal process of caucus. Thank you.
Comrades, the good part about this is that COSATU does not rise to oppose the process to proceed, registering a concern, and if needs be, just to make sure that no one feels processes, and then not for any action, but perhaps to comment on it when we close tomorrow, so that we learn from this process moving forward. Chair, I hand over to you. It's not the man. The country will be very peaceful if all of us were to conduct our conferences like this.
Nobala, teta, Nobala, where are you? Comrades, it's time for adoption of the minutes of the previous. Amandla. Is the time of the adoption of the minutes and matters arising and the presentation of the National Gender Office Bearers report by the secretary. What I've been taught to go ANew is that when it comes to presentation of the report, the chair must chair the session. The chairperson must come and chair the session. So to me it's say goodbye and love you all, comrades. See you tomorrow.
Amandla. Comrades, I will plead with you. What is this cooperator? Already scattis liwe inja. May I call to the podium our secretary? Comrade Secretary, please deal with our report as well as the minutes without breaking. Thank you.
Amandla, awethu.
Okay, pop crew. Yes. Yes. President. Siyayibona. Okay. No stress, President. Can we take the minutes first and